Well, welcome. My name is Bill Bambrick. I'm a local realtor here in Northport, and I want to talk about the current market update with Heron Creek Golf and Country Club. So today is August 18, 2023. I'm going to break this down into two areas, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to provide some real behind the scenes insight that a lot of people aren't aware of when it comes to a final negotiation or the determined price at the end. We'll call it the net number when it comes to real estate here. Sometimes it's not just the asking price, it's what is the net number after all concessions or discounts may be applied. So let's give some background as far as Heron Creek is concerned. Heron Creek Golf and Country Club, it's a semi-private club. They have 27 championship holes designed by the world-class architect Arthur Hills. Of course, in addition to the golf course, members enjoy a 25-acre state-of-the-art golf learning center and practice facility. In all, there are 6 practice areas and 5 practice greens and for golfers of all levels to improve their game. The focal point of the community there is really their clubhouse. It's a 21,000 square foot clubhouse offering fine dining as well as casual dining in their grill room. So if you're looking for more of a fine dining experience or casual lunch or dinner, they can provide that for you as well. Members will also have access to the 5 lighted Har-Tru tennis courts. They've got a resort-style swimming pool, spa, sun deck, and of course a state-of-the-art fitness center. Now the golf course itself, it's surrounded by single-family homes and villas, many of those which include and come with golf course views. And if they don't have golf course views, they really have some beautiful private preserves as well as sparkling lakes spread out through the community. The golf course, again, has surrounded by single family and villas. So with that, that's a brief overview. Let's go ahead and get into some of the meat and potatoes of the Heron Creek Golf and Country Club and the latest market report. So I wanted to cover today the Heron Creek Golf and Country Club located in Northport, the recent real estate activity, and today's date is April 18th. So I'm going to cover what's currently active, what's pending, what is sold, and of course just a status of all of them to round out all the data and information. I'm going to break this down into 2 separate areas, the villas and single family homes, because I think it's important that there are some size differences, and so that can kind of skew data overall. So I want to be able to present that where they're really separate entities and you have a much better grasp of what valuation and what they're selling for currently in the marketplace. So what we're looking at now, this is a report from the MLS, in which we can run these statistics reports at any snapshot at any given time. So what we see here, there are 8 currently that are active. We get a mix of what they are from beds to baths, as well as the average and median. So when we talk on the median, it's important to keep in perspective that there is that's the midpoint. They'll be higher and they'll be lower. So know that depending on your property, it may adjust a little differently, but I try and pinpoint as much of these variables or variances in what we're going to cover today. So we're going to talk again about the existing, pending, and closed sales, and then some other important information at the end I think you need to listen to because it'll put some of these numbers into even more of a deeper perspective that I think it will really help you in the long run. So let's just start out again. Here we are with there's currently 8 that are active, and typically those are going to be, and we'll see the breakdown here in just a moment, but we see the square footage size, we see what it was listed for, and then the listing price per square foot. So when we kind of look at the list price median, that sits right around $650,000. That price per square foot about $274. And then we're looking at the cumulative days on the market at 46 days. So this is basically so far how long it's been on the market listed. The difference between the average and cumulative is cumulative, even though it goes on the market and go pending status, that clock keeps ticking. So that just because when it goes pending, it may go back to an active status for one reason or the other. So that's why you may see some variance when it comes to active versus cumulative days on the market. So 3 pending. And again, we see kind of that price point where they're at, as well as the square footage. So the median, again, that's a little smaller size, so we see a little variance here. But we do note that the price per square foot is higher. But we'll also see days on the market is longer as well. And so now in the 4 sold properties, it's going to be, this is really what you understand of what buyers are doing out there. And it's just as important to note that what we see that had recently closed, all right, is these actually went under contract, right? You got to think days to contract, right? So 5 days, 75 days, 30 days, and 20 days. So this means that when it came on the market, this is how long it looked before an offer was accepted. Then the days to close. So this is when the offer is accepted, and then we look at, okay, well, you know what? This didn't close for another 30 days after that, and that's pretty typical when it comes to that metric of days to close. And then, of course, just a breakdown of all of them. So when we look at what's sold, again, the square footage is about 2,200 square feet. They listed from a median standpoint about 636. And so the selling price, listed selling price initially was $287. Okay, but now it is closed, right? So now we look at the median close price, and here we see a variance of what they listed for versus what they actually accepted for days on the contract. So about a 5% variance discount from when it was list price to sale price, 5% discount. Okay. So now let's go ahead and head to the top. I'm going to give you these breakdowns. So I've got even all the addresses located here. So this just backs up the data that's here. So these are the active currently in the marketplace. We see the square footage. We see the number of bedrooms. So again, here's a couple with 3 bedrooms. I didn't put in the bathrooms. I don't think the bathrooms would be as negligible because we know typically it's going to have at least 2, 2.5, maybe even 3 bathrooms here. But I think it's important to note, again, the days on the market, 91 days, 93 days, 88 days. Now we get into what's currently that's pending status. And so here we've had 3 that are pending. 1 literally went under contract pretty quickly, under 3 days. The other 2, one is approaching 60 days, and then the other is 75 days. And we'll dive into that just a little further here. So now let's look at what's sold. All right, and so when we talk about those sold, 1, 2, 3, 4 that are sold, all right, and so we've got cash, we've got conventional, and then we have cash as well and conventional. So this sold for cash, this was a conventional, this sold for cash, this was a conventional, i.e. financing, right? We see the breakdown of square footage, the current price when it was sold. So this is the price that it was the current price when it went under contract, right? The cumulative days on the market when they actually did end up closing. And so now this is the selling price to list price. So a 4% variance, 6%, 3%, and 6%. So again, we look at these days. So it's not uncommon to see it. So these had sold at a much better days to market. This was appears to be a very nice property, but it sold for cash, right? So cash can be king. So this buyer saw this and swooped this property right up. So let's look at these sold ones here because I kind of want to highlight some information. So my next tab, again, this is 1280 Midnight Trace. And so this actually came under under a listing of February 7th. And it was listed for $685,000. So when this had closed, and this had went in pending in April, it closed just about a month after that, and it sold. So they had went from 685, reduced it to 678, and the final sale price was 650,000 after being on the market for 70 days. The next sold one is 5424 on White Ibis Drive. And again, so we looked, this went on the market of March. This did go pending at the end of March for $539, so a slight discount after 20 days, right? So about $550 now to $540. But look at the sale price in 22 days. So here at $539, there was a $30,000 difference between what they're asking and then actually what it sold for. So again, this is just important to understand kind of what's out there and kind of how long it sits on the market, and then what type of discounts that are occurred, because this is where buyers and sellers, now again, I share this with all my folks as well, because I want you to be educated. And so the longer a property sits on the market, we're going to see some. But here, this is a motivated seller, right? So once they got an offer, it may have been the only offer. And so they've just felt that, and like any seller, you always have the choice. When you receive a buyer, you have three options, right? You can accept it. You can negotiate on it with terms, right? Send it back and renegotiate for whatever it may be, or you can reject it and move on from there. So let's look at what's currently active, and this is broken down on the first slide that I went to here. So again, we're just looking at what's active. And this was listed here in May 15th, came on the market for just about $700,000. After 10 days, they dropped their price to $650,000. The next one here, this became in March 7th, was listed for $475,000. Here we see a series of price reductions that have occurred. And the last one where it actually went pending, right, in April, but then became relisted and went back on the market for the same price. And then at that same price of $459, when it came back onto the market, because this isn't active, they actually increased the price to $479.9. And so it's still out there. I suspect this number will start going backwards again based on the days on the market. The last active listing I just wanted to point out here again, this went on the market end of February. It went pending quite quickly in 3 days. Went back on the market though, so there was some diligence that was going on. And so basically in May, and that was a long time, right? So clearly they got a great offer of asking price. But for some reason, this transaction did not go through. So it went back on the market in May. We're still back on the market. They did reduce the price slightly, but we're 65 days on the market now. So again, buyers look at this information. They know, or at least I like to educate my buyers, that the longer this sits, once we get to the 60 and 90 day mark, we're probably looking at anywhere from a 6 to 9% concession or discount. For the fact of days on the market that immediately starts to decline pretty quickly. So either you're motivated or you're not, but maybe there hasn't been any offer since then. So what this tells me, when we sit on this duration of this of over 45 to 60 days, that the public is rejecting this price. The other thing I always like to keep in mind is, how are these properties marketed? Right? Is there just a listing that's taken and it's put on the MLS, and then they share it with their realtor friends, other agents that can see it, but that's not marketing. You have to do extensive marketing in today. You have to reach buyers outside of the state of Florida that are coming to the area, buyers that are interested in country club living, interested in gated communities, interested in Northport, interested in a great value. Because ultimately, what we talk about here is Heron Creek is really a tremendous value when we think of country club living anywhere from Sarasota down through Naples. It's very affordable. It's 27 holes. It's a beautiful, well-kept community with a great reputation. So now I want to step into the villas here. And so again, we're going to look at the villas so we see what's been pending and what has sold. Currently, that are two are pending, and again, they haven't been on the market very long. As we know, those villas are 2-bedroom, 2-baths. What has sold? The two that were sold, one was sold for conventional, and the other was sold for cash. The conventional one, we're just going to look here as, you know what, this was on the market for, again, 94 days. And so here we're looking at a 6% discount. The other one was only on the market for 1 day. So this basically had a buyer that was pretty much already lined up. These are called pocket listings sometimes. And so it's interesting to see the price variance. Now, there is some size difference between these two, 600 square feet. But this one clearly went at quite a reduced price, of course, being on the market for 94 days before it finally had closed. So I did want to just kind of review that one, the 4736, which is this one here, but on the market for 94 days. This was listed at end of January for $325. After 50 days, they finally did their first price reduction. It did go pending, and then it finally closed for $295, $296 in that regard. So there you see a difference here. So again, came out for $325,000 and sold for $296,000. So about a $26,000 variance between when it came out and basically when it finally went under contract and closed. So it's just important that this really stresses the importance of pricing something out of the gate, being very responsive once it goes on the market. Once you're after 14 days and you don't get the activity, you don't get an offer, you've got to be able to start bumping this number down in a direction which you're going to create some noise in the marketplace. So again, this is just the MLS data here. Again, these are the 4 villas from Heron Creek, and we just see the data that comes from the MLS in that regard. So this is information that I always look at on a highlighted basis. So I'll go back to here. So one of the things when properties are sold, we see the numbers are reported of actually what was the actual sale price, correct? And so the sale price here is, again, what they accepted. But there may be, and there typically is, could very well be more seller concessions under this number. And so these are what I would consider credits to the seller, credits to the buyer. And those could be the golf membership fee. It could be funds going to reduce their interest payment if it's financed. It could be a variety of things. These are just some other items that are negotiated that do not stay above the radar. This is all behind. This is not public information, so you're not going to see it. The only person that sees this is going to be the buyer, the seller, and the title company. Marketing report for Heron Creek Golf and Country Club. I'll be back next month with another update of active, pending, and sold with some additional commentary. If I could help you position your home to either sell or you're looking to purchase at Heron Creek Golf and Country Club, I would be more than happy to assist you. I look forward to providing you with just sound information. I work for you, whether you're a home seller or a home buyer. I specialize in working with the senior population as well. One of the things that I help my sellers is I have a 36-page active marketing plan that is extremely comprehensive that I know that no other agent in the area will provide. And I would love that opportunity just to discuss not only my qualifications, but what I can actually do for your property. Bill Bambrick with LPT Realty, and have an amazing day.